Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. We are trying to make it work. It is going about as badly as I expected. Just give us a few minutes, and we'll might have this sorted out. Just everything broke the moment we went live. It was actually pretty impressive. The camera was working. It was the correct aspect ratio, and then I hit the button to start, and it was like, nah, 4x3.
Some point.
I mean, if you told me that, I could have gotten some shorter fighters that would fit in that square ratio. Instead of choosing the minimum height is 6'2".
I am pretty sure I know what's wrong. I just have to like do a little bit of finagling. But yeah, we have that. I think I could fix this. I think I know.
See, Connor's got the right idea. Have you tried beating it? See, that's what you need to go for.
I think that might. This function is not selectable in current shooting mode. This camera is just telling me no. Okay, we're gonna try turning it on and it's totally gonna fix it. Or not. Filters, no. That is,
You can make it worse if you want.
I
That's a
can.
good option.
That's a good option, yeah. I like that. It really.
Are you all right?
I don't know what happened. It's amazing. It really did just detect I started and was like, all right, it's time to break. I'm just going to stretch it. This is going to be the 10th craft fix, but it's going to be what I got. We're just going to kind of eyeball stretch this into the right shape and then hope it just is fine. And then you guys can actually do something. It'd be great. I know, right?
I don't believe.
Have a little faith. Put some points into faith.
I probably should try that, but
All right, please just, yeah, there we go. Okay, that is the crappy fix I'm going to use today.
That's rated G for good enough.
Yeah, that is some quality work we've done.
I haven't done anything.
Matt's also slightly responsible for this, I'm sure.
Damn it, Matt.
I mean, I just do that.
That's fair.
Well, if you guys want to go ahead and do a round.
All right, you want me to go ahead and grab the?
I'm also going to make this chat bigger so we can actually see it. There we go. See how it's supposed to be a darker color?
I see that, yeah.
I don't know what happened, but
Here, 2 steps forward, Jacob. There you go.
there we go. So yeah, welcome everybody. Sorry for the terrible start. Oh, hey, what's up, Dayman? The audio is slightly delayed.
That's fine.
Nah. Yeah.
Eric, push a little less. Keep your distance. There you go. Very nice. What does HEMA stand for? HEMA stands for Historical European Martial Arts. Why is the stream upside down?
Hey Matt, you're holding your phone upside down.
There we go.
You can get a lot closer than that, by the way. You're like a mile away from the action here.
Oh, fair enough.
I think you're in wide angle. You might want to switch your lens. I assume people would figure out what HEMA meant by just like,
Googling it.
yeah, either Googling it or just thinking about it for a second.
Have any of the weapons ever snapped or braked on impact? For the most part, they're very well made. We've had a couple weapon failures over the years, but for the most part, that's pretty rare. Gear will break, but the swords are well done. We don't use cheap stuff, so not really a big factor. The good news is if it was going to break, it's going to break in a safe way.
Yeah, I think my gloves have basically already disintegrated for the most part, and they're only a couple months old.
Well, you also got the cheapest gloves you could get.
I did, but
Don't let this guy be the spokesperson.
I gotta say, when you're buying heavy gauntlets, don't buy cheap ones. That's
Yes.
definitely the way to go. But yeah, even the nicer ones tend to get like shattered eventually from a couple of good impacts.
What are you looking at when it comes to your point scoring? It depends. Like right now, we're not really playing under any particular rules or anything along those lines. Certain tournaments will have actual weighted points. So, for example, it's not uncommon to have like a limb be 1 versus lights out targets such as your chest or your head being 3, with some other modifiers that be put in there. But for the most part, when you're sparring, you're looking for a good hit with good control. You know, if it just lightly taps the outside of your body, especially, that's not really something to worry about. And especially here at this school, I encourage people to keep going unless there is some sort of lights out sort of condition, which we'll mostly be fighting under today, because if you just stop every time you get lightly tapped, well, that's not very entertaining, is it?
Yeah, I guess for next round, I think I saw someone say Messer in there.
I'll do Messer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, people
Sure, I'll do some Messer.
tends to be that head is the best target, so you definitely getting hit in the head is basically the standard. But these fencing masks do mitigate it enough that you barely feel it for the most part, unless you get hit really hard, and then your mask breaks and you end up in the ER for a little while.
It's not a problem.
Oh yeah, by the way, your camera, Matt. That's how much zoomed out it is. You might
Oh,
you
let me
really
see
need
if
to either switch it or no, not like zoom, like just you have multiple.
Yeah, I'm on the. I should be on the. Fix that.
Be on the
real
one that's not wide angle,
That's
or
what I'm
unless you
saying.
wanted to stand like 2 inches away.
quick. Well, no, I thought I was on the one that's. See, that's camera 2.
That
And that's camera 0. Oh, there we go.
yeah, there you go. That's a normal camera. Thank you.
Yeah, so I forgot that we were wide angle from the test.
Yeah, I'm aware the audio is probably going to be desynced. I think it's because I'll have to figure that out on my own time. We can't fix that live, unfortunately. But yeah, we have pole arms here, so we could do that next if you're interested. Can you offset the audio? I don't know. Not live.
Yep, good.
The largest weapon we use here is longsword for the most part. Technically halberds, but Yeah. Anything larger than a longsword is probably too dangerous to be practicing with, generally speaking, anyway. I imagine.
Spears get long.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can't do any longsword longer than, like, 50 inches. Starts getting that territory.
Yeah, you don't want them on contact.
Yeah. We do not have katanas. That's definitely not something we have here. The gear we're using here is stab-proof cloth. I'm not exactly sure what it is, isn't it? Something. It's meant to be stab resistant, so that you don't get stabbed. But the weapons we're using are also blunt, so it's not really a big deal as long as the weapon doesn't break.
You can do some saber with Matt.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, with Derek, rather. I'm looking at Matt.
Yeah. So was there anything that we have as far as, I guess, requests as well?
Someone said they wanted to see halberd, so
We'll save halberd for when we got armor.
okay, that's fair.
It's still a heavy weight on the end of a stick.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We can do spear.
Could do spear.
It's the next best thing.
We'll see. We'll probably mostly stick to the swords today because it's just easier.
It's fair. Making fun of me for forgetting to change the camera view for a second.
Yeah, why you suck so much?
Yeah. They're asking for rapier as well, so
Oh, yeah,
There
I'll
you go.
definitely be doing some rapier.
yep. That's the specialty. Oh yeah, good fights.
So when it comes to armor, you don't really do maces, not because they're too heavy, that you can make a safe version of a mace. It's more because there aren't a lot of historical writings on how to use a mace, because it really is not that complicated. It's more that the thing that separates HEMA from just mucking around with historical weapons is trying to mimic and recreate what they would have done behavior-wise historically through their writings. So if you don't have proof of it, you can, frog DNA it, sure, but you don't want to get too far into the weeds of, figure it out, because then you're not really doing anything historical anymore. Now there, of course, inferences you can make, but...
Is there like a lot of guesswork involved with those plates?
At this point, not as much. HEMA as it currently exists, I mean, the practice has been around for quite a while, and some aspects of it are still living, like an unbroken lineage. Not as many as we would hope, of course, but for the most part, most of the guesswork is just trying to get our closest translation, because you're not just, especially with the older sources, you're not just translating a foreign language, you're translating an older version of a foreign language. So, what does the word Schlag mean to an English speaker versus what it means to a German speaker versus what it means to an older German speaker?
Don't ask you about dual wielding.
Dual wielding is great if you're good with already fighting, single hand, because if you're going to lose something, it's going to be the thing in your offhand. For the most part, most people I've seen try to do it just get punked real quick. I have had to do it on occasions, but really if you're going to do two weapons, you are either showcasing your mastery, so treat it as like, hey, I'm doing something very difficult on purpose, or treat it as I'm using a pair of weapons, usually asymmetrical. So fighting with a sword and shield or fighting with a sword and dagger is still two-weapon fighting. It's just not the way most people expect.
I've also heard some people say you just throw the left-hand weapon at them.
I mean, you can, but it's a great way to lose it.
I mean, you have your right-hand weapon still.
Well, I mean, I won't say that you won't do it when the rubber meets the road, but it's certainly better to hold on to.
But things like having a dagger as your secondary, particularly for rapier, can be very useful.
Oh, sure. I mean, and it's very popular. It's my least favorite of the offhand weapons personally, just because so many people do it. But the important thing and the thing that is drilled into your head historically over and over and over again is, look, your offhand weapon is useless to you if you can't stand with the sword by itself.
Can you fix the echo?
That's probably just the nature of where we are.
I think to some degree there's going to be a lot of problems today, and I'm going to figure them out later. Because fixing problems live usually doesn't go very well.
So that's actually a really good question from Vahalid Circuit. Sorry if I'm messing your name up, but I'm going to call you V. Yeah, so that's a good question. Where does it stop? Where's its boundary? Modern HEMA is usually focused specifically on the European side of things. Now, Europe in itself can go quite a ways, so that could include Asia Minor. That could also include parts of North Africa. That can also include North America because of the settlement here. Western martial arts in general, though, is kind of everything just in the general Western hemisphere, not including the Asian styles most people are familiar with. It's a broad umbrella. I would treat it less as where does HEMA start and stop, and more of where are you needing to recreate things, and do you have the evidence to do so?
Go for it. I'll dive straight into some rapier.
Yeah. I was going to say, so someone is asking about like the difference between SCA and this.
So the Society for Creative Anachronism is older than the modern HEMA movement, and the biggest difference is the SCA wants to, how do I describe this? And I will point out, a lot of people would expect me to be anti-SCA or anything like that. That is not the case. Really, we're all sword nerds. We get along pretty well. The biggest difference between us and the SCA is HEMA only cares about the fighting. I want to get the fighting 100% correct, or as close to 100% as I can. There are some things in the living history side of things that comes along with that. Actually fencing while wearing what they would have worn historically can change things quite a bit. But as far as what SCA is doing, they are more focused on the camp life side of things, and they will fight, but they are not trying to recreate historical combat, especially their heavy fighting. So using the rattan, that's SCA fighting. That's their game. And there's nothing wrong with playing a game, People played games historically in all sorts of different ways, but it's not going to be a reflection of what they would have done with real weapons. So yeah, as far as trying to look into the hobby yourself, there are a decent amount of online resources. Shameless self-plug, if you don't mind me, shelling myself out on your stream.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel, Rocket City HEMA, on YouTube. I've put up a lot of content, so you can look there. There's a lot of other people that have done things like that, just a ton of them. Look around, and definitely if you want to have a good look at things, compare and contrast in your own mind. Get your hand on an original source. Obviously not an original source unless you're like rich, but get your hand on the text, look at it in detail, and compare and contrast different interpretations and find a place that you are happy with and start physically training. Drill is way more important than learning any particular movements.
Yeah, and I did actually put a link to your YouTube channel.
Oh, hey.
At the end of the video I posted the other day, so.
Nice.
There you go. Like way out of frame here.
Go. Good question, Drew. And yes, I see you in there. That's a hard line to draw. It's the other thing about HEMA, and you'll find a bunch of different acronyms being thrown around. Is some people don't like to use HEMA specifically just because any organization you do has its failings, and that's beyond the realm of like stuff I care about. But so some people will use different labels, but that's really about it. It's mostly, look, I'm here to do the fighting. HEMA describes the fighting, and that's what most people are trying to do. And yes, Wiktenauer is a wonderful source of information. Any fights with shields playing today? I might do one. I might do one in a minute.
I'm hoping to get something in.
Oh, you should definitely
Yeah,
get in. I mean, whatever you want to fight with, I'll hit you next. I don't mind.
I'm willing to do axes.
Okay, if you want to do axes, we'll do axes.
I can do mismatch as well. I don't mind that. I just feel like mismatch axe has been super interesting. Like how every weapon has a different matchup feel to it.
Yes.
I actually feel like longsword is easier than arming swords for whatever reason.
It's generally, so it's a mix of things, is probably because, number one, the majority of longswords you've gone up against have been people that aren't willing to really cut you down. And no lie, that's a weird thing, you know, you're holding this piddly little axe and I've got a longsword and there's an intrinsic, I don't want to hurt my friend. Mm-hmm. But also on the flip side is someone holding an arming sword is more likely to understand, oh, when we get close I have to use my left hand.
Yes.
So that is more ready to go.
I've also just found that they can just flip that sword around so fast.
It rotates around the wrist. Yeah.
Whereas a longsword, I have more time to see and move to where I need to be for that.
Yep.
It's also harder to get off a hook because with the arming sword, they can move it quick enough. They can get away from a hook on the axe itself. Where with longsword, I can usually get a decent grab on it, and then I can just grab the blade and I'm good to go. But yeah, it was just interesting that felt odd that was easier than doing the arming sword, because I've fought like 2 or 3 people with arming swords using an axe, and every time I got destroyed completely.
Well, your choice. I will use either an axe and match you, or I'll grab whatever.
I'll let you grab whatever.
Okay.
I'm looking to get another scar to balance it out. One on each side.
Okay, do you need me to?
You're gonna have to run, so.
I don't know how to.
So once again, DSLR camera is 1,
Okay.
2 is the phone, 3 is the reverse camera, 4
Alright.
is combined, 5 is combined with the other camera. And yeah, I mean, you can probably sit mostly on this and just move this around a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Or you can have someone take that phone.
Yeah, that's up to. I'll leave that up to Jacob.
What are we doing?
If you want to use that phone there, and
Well, your Eric's been sitting in the wings. You can use the phone to just get some extra footage angle.
Oh yeah, my mask is under your feet.
oh,
Just wondering where what.
Yep, just make sure your face is away.
there's your mask. Flip it up for the man.
Looking at our time limit, our battery's like 30%.
Yeah, we got 31. Oh my God. Oh, longer than I thought. This will be interesting to explore with proper knowledge. You want to sit over here, Jacob? You might be better at answering stuff that's coming up in chat here.
Two-bladed battle axe. I don't see why that would be an issue. I'm assuming, it's on one side.
Yeah, we got you. Just one last quick. So it's 1 for this camera, 2 for that one.
Yep.
Cool.
And the keys are bomb at 4 and 5, or the combined use.
Okay.
Quote, I'm quite impressed with the club's assortment of armor, unquote. Some of these, I'm not going to repeat, but
Yeah.
yep. Who made it? They are metal. They're metal, like mesh wire.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Let's see what Eric's saying.
Yeah.
Eric, you got it upside down. You need to flip the. There we go.
Historical European musket matches. No idea. We do bayonet. So actually right between them by Bob there, the dummy, just to the left of him, you can see bayonet trainers. And so there are bayonet sources. Usually a lot of time the same in like English backsword. How do you guys manage to keep such nice beards? Thank you. The beards grow with each kill. Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
There's Walker and then Eric and yeah.
I was gonna say everybody's got.
A Shotel. There is a group. There's a HEMA, which is Historical African Martial Arts, and they've worked on recreating a lot of the African weapons, the fighting systems. So it's just HEMA, and they do show tell.
See what this looks like while we're between rounds.
Can we use Bob as a weapon? I don't know. I think that Walker would frown upon that.
Yeah.
Historical European facial hair is a. You walk into a HEMA building and you grow a beard.
That sounds about right.
Yep. Got to introduce everyone still. On the right is Walker. On the left is Eric. I am Jacob. Oh.
Eric's got the camera right now. Pat.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Pat.
Inferno is, yeah.
Don't listen to me. Listen to Matt. Who is the other voice that you're hearing through your computer
Yes.
speakers? Inferno is in the white mask.
Oh, Inferno isn't. Oh, wow. Well, there you go. Demasked. Stream is killed? Question mark? Is it? Ooh.
Kopesh. I believe there are people recreating Kopesh. I don't know much about it.
Yeah. I'm just keeping an eye on that as well. Yeah, because I was going to say on the Kopesh and the other stuff, we had a grapple. With Axe, you'll probably see a lot more grappling than other weapons.
Wavy edged. The Zweihanders we do not. Usually the wavy edge is called a flamberge. Yeah, we don't have them. The big thing, the interesting thing is, unlike most everything, the sources for Zweihanders are mainly just solo training. It's a lot of solo cutting patterns. I haven't studied it. There are people who absolutely do, but you don't really spar with them a whole lot. Even back in the day, there's, if I recall correctly, there's sources, for his Y-hander or some, it could be Montante or Spadone.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, this is not safe to train with.
It looks like
What do
those
we got?
two at the bottom there may be worth. Because as far as HEMA goes, I just happened into it through doing judo, and I ran
Okay,
into
Walker. Yeah, you can go to the HEMA Alliance has a club finder. So if you just Google HEMA Alliance club finder, you can find one near you. Difference between this and fencing, they're somewhat related. I do Olympic épée fencing as well. The emphasis is different. HEMA's about trying to recreate historical fencing sources. So that's the big difference.
Oh, we threw it. Well, nope, we're going to stay on that camera. Ugh. Okay, and then, yeah, as far as the, do axes have a disarming advantage? They're good at it. I don't know that it's necessarily,
Getting drunk, yep. That's also, with history nerds, is a good way to join HEMA.
that is, yeah.
Pocket sand action, yes, Godino from Spain. There is a pocket sand play where you have sand in your pocket, you throw it, attack, and then I believe it's like multiple pockets. You have multiple pockets full of sand.
The first one, you reach into your other pocket.
Yes, ceiling oh, yes, there we go. And as for gearing for light or medium roll, I'm a fan of the medium roll myself. Let's take back in. All good? We're running out of daylight pretty quick there on the...
Yeah, it's all good. I think you guys got like 2 more rounds in you probably.
Okay, we have the first end him rightly based comment. We knew it was coming.
I'll get a glass of water actually.
Okay.
Is healing allowed?
Is healing allowed?
Unfortunately, it takes a while.
Okay, well, we should probably put it back on.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to work a
That's
computer.
fine. I barely do. All right, Pat.
We could probably all scooch in here.
Yeah, you sit and I'll scooch in and we can... In the comments here.
Oh, how long have we been practicing? Let's see. I've been doing HEMA for 3.5. Pat?
I think it's 8 months now.
Okay, Matt.
About
Couple
2
years.
Yeah, coming up on
Walker.
2.
Walker, how many years in HEMA?
13.
Okay. Eric. 5. Okay.
That was the level 100 mafia boss versus the level 1 noob there.
Well,
Heavy plate armor. Oh, heavy plate armor's not bullshit. Heavy plate armor is very effective.
Yeah, having fought.
It is a skill to move in it, but you absolutely can move in it.
you can take so many hits unless they get you right in the perfect spots.
Yep.
Particularly in the armpits, that's where they're most vulnerable.
Yeah, and even then, to get through mail, I mean, you got to have push on it to actually push
I'm gonna
a spear
get the other
point.
camera just so that.
Yep.
What you intend of doing is you get the spear on the mail, and
Yep.
then you have to put your full body weight and push into it as hard as you can.
Yep. Ice Cactus, where do I start to learn and read about HEMA and other forms of combat? There is a wiki called Wichtenauer, which is good. That has a lot of translations of sources and just a lot of general information. There's a YouTube channel we have. There's, let's see, is there anything? Wichtenauer, I think, is the standard source. That's got a lot of translations. And then you can buy books on Amazon that are books on HEMA. I'm a book person more than an internet person, so that's kind of what I do. No, there are not genetically modified super soldiers in power armor, unfortunately. Maybe in 300 years.
I don't know.
What is a
I think we have
crucible from Doom
genetically
Eternal?
modified. We might have one of those.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just experience. Shelly, dude, you dropped that sword twice. That's dead.
Yeah, you just put it in your hand and you hold. Works just like that.
Oh.
Most influences.
Do you have duels with armor categories? Yes, we do a lot of armor, actually. Over there, you can see some of it, and a lot of people have their own armor kit. That's what we're going to be doing a lot of next year, is focusing on training armor. Historic styles, would you say most influence HEMA? Honestly, longsword is the most popular. There's German longsword sources, there's Italian longsword, but longsword is the most popular style to study, the most popular weapon. Oh, we do use quarterstaffs. We haven't done a whole lot of sparring with them. But yeah, we have a staff class that we do every Sunday. Do you have a favorite weapon?
I love longsword. I've been enjoying doing axe, though axe is definitely a hard thing to do right, for sure. It's just not. It doesn't have much of an advantage.
Yep, halberd good for home defense. I suppose so. I don't have room to swing around a halberd.
Yeah, you might be good in a hallway. That's about it. Though I guess you'd hit the roof.
Well, because for me, I'm just thinking ceiling.
Yeah, I think you'd want a spear for a house.
Yep.
Short spear, I guess.
Can we get some staff fights today? I think we can probably do that. It's up to Walker, but yeah, we can try and fit that in. 20% cooler than you are. Well, that's good. What are halberds like? They're like quarterstaves. Yes, they're heavy. They're like quarterstaves, and you've got a big axe blade on the end. Using a mace. Hammers. If you count a poleaxe as a hammer, there's quite a bit on poleaxe. What age would you say most people do HEMA? There's a big, what is it, the youngest here is probably 17 and the oldest is 62?
Probably like 15.
15.
I think Colby's 16, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started when I was 15. Other people started when they were, 15, 14. The median age people get into it is usually in their mid-20s.
Okay.
Once you have disposable income,
Yeah,
that goes a long way.
Uh-huh. It also leads to the, I need more swords problem, which I've finally broken, I think. Now I'm like, I need more armor.
Yeah, Pat, why don't you go pick a longsword fight?
All right.
Synthetic.
Yeah, for sure.
Here, slide over. My jacket came unbuttoned at some point. How fashionable.
Sword and board. We could probably fit in some sword and rotella.
Yeah, you and I we could break out the targes.
Yep. Quarterstaff. They also asked about quarterstaff.
Maybe next time.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since
It's been a bit. We'll
Yeah.
we'll get you all ready to go with it.
It is the biggest buff, that is. Well, practicing is the biggest buff, but then disposable income, especially when you get
Hush.
armor, makes difference.
Hush your gums, Shelley.
Conditioning does help.
Oh, yeah. I totally am going to be... I actually have one coming that I ordered last time I got injured.
Which
So-
one is that?
Oh, so when I started HEMA, I wanted to do Polish Saber.
Right.
And somebody finally made a decent looking Polish Saber. And so I'm like, okay, yep, I feel bad. But
It's not really a Polish saber unless it's made in Poland.
yeah, that's true. It was, it's Kwiecień, so like
Here,
Georgia,
Pat,
Georgia the country.
thing is unfocused.
Yeah, that camera just has decided.
To be blurry?
Yeah, it will refocus if you give it some time.
Okay.
I think maybe if you just
There we go.
Don't move.
Yeah, okay.
Don't move. Stay. Stay.
freeze. I can't see you. Yeah, if it's having focus problems, just put your hand over it for a second. That might reset it.
I got the Vaseline screen. Yeah. It's just accurately the mugginess in here. That's what that's simulating.
Yeah, when I leave a lot of the time, and I'm driving in my car, my windows fog up.
Yeah.
So I get right on the road and they're fogged up, and I have to either open the window, turn on
Here,
the
let's
defogger.
switch to. Your camera's upside down. There you go. Which longsword system do I teach? I teach two. I do the Kunst des Fechtens, the art of fighting, so that's the German KDF style. And I do the Fiore di Battaglia, which is the flower of battle from Italy. Now, mind you, you can't really think of it nationalistically. It's just, that's the language it's written in, is the best way to describe it. What's the most unique style you've seen used? I've seen some niche things. Every once in a while you'll get someone who uses a very specific source, and they do it well. And it's like, yeah, that's what that should look like. That's really cool. I have also seen some people that have little tricks that you would... It's one of those where it's like, okay, that works because of you. Which, hey, you know, if you can do it, you can do it. There's some things I can do that I just can't teach to other people. So as far as any niche weapon like bardiche or sword staff, it's just polearm, stick's a stick. You learn how to use halberd, you know how to use anything that cuts. Most bland style I've seen. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. It's not bland per se. It's more of just disappointing when people get over fixated on tagging a point as opposed to having a good bout or doing well, and then that can get kind of just boring to watch. How our guy is holding up? I mean, if you're talking about Pat, he's doing good. You know, he takes a beating and keeps on kicking rather. So.
Yeah, he's improved a lot this
Oh
year.
yeah, he's been in every free spar hour, getting the work in. You know, fought at Yeehaw, which was a big melee event, and yeah.
Most impractical style, maybe like,
That wasn't just nonsense.
yeah. I mean, anything done badly, but
So, you good, Pat? Oh, okay. Eric, no. Eric, choose the right option. I mean, it's not just nonsense per se, but there is a small subset of the longsword in one hand in Fiore's Flower of Battle. And don't get me wrong, it's very good, but it's meant to be, you are forced to use this in one hand. Here's how you defend yourself. A lot of people will try to use it for sake of variety, which is not a good idea.
exercises that specifically help with HEMA. I am made of glass, and so I have developed a whole workout routine that is meant to stop me from, pulling a tendon or whatever. So, running, not super long, super far, but just 2 miles helps. Doing a lot of like isolation shoulder exercises. Any kind of rowing I found is very useful. I have a thing that's kind of like an exercise bike, but for the upper body, and that's been fantastic.
Yeah, throwing stones, jumping,
Yeah.
any light work, always good. Break. You become a backpack. Real difference between different nations. It's context. It's a bunch of things. Oh, you broke your next.
You can borrow mine for now.
Yeah. It really comes down to context, the particular context of whatever it was written for. Glad you agree, Barba. Yeah, right there with you. Anything with? I mean, I've got a bunch. Like I said, depending upon what weapon, I will take us through multiple different books. Depends upon the class. When I was learning, it was, which one's us? That one's, no, not that one. That one's us. Where I learned, we rotated through sources pretty interchangeably, which was good. So I got really well rounded in that regard. Word for emergencies. Sort of like, it's almost kind of funny. From almost half a lifetime of doing this, the word hold will make me stop no matter where I am, which can be very annoying. There's just general hold is what people go with. Though mate, actually, judo, that'll make me freeze.
Noted.
Have I seen anyone throw their sword? Yes, intentionally and unintentionally.
How short of a spear?
In armor, I don't mind it being very short. If I'm in my harness, I do not care. Oh, very funny. But generally speaking, you don't want anything too much shorter than about 4 feet. So, here's the thing about using historical stuff in a self-defense context. You really shouldn't. There's a lot of context that goes into modern self-defense that you should go to qualified individuals to talk about. As far as sparring, you should never try to get into a knife fight. Practice your 4-mile sprint over anything along those lines.